Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another video. Today we're getting started on the SH Figuarts Berserk Guts and the Berserker armor not activated. Because we know we have the fully activated form. This is him just wearing the Berserker armor. That's another difference between this one and the one coming out. And yeah, let's get started. Now, I have some issues with the figure, and I'm going to talk about them. Are they crazy issues? I'm not sure yet. But I know there's one major issue is with the tolerances and them not clearing for the legs, and the other is being the tolerances for the hands. Everything else I can work with, but these ones are big issues going forward where you just, you're going to figure out what you're going to do with the line. So I want to talk about those. Otherwise, our look outright of Guts is utterly fantastic. I love this look. It's one of those things where I was super excited for this. Happy I was able to get mine because a lot of my orders actually got canceled recently. So I'm super happy to be able to have this. And the look on this Guts is just utterly real. I detached everything that didn't come with it on it. I forgot to swap back the proper hand. So we do have our sword holding hand here. We'll get into that later. Hi, Buttermilk. Yes. So, yeah. Yes, buddy. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. He needs some attention. But yeah. So, first thing I want to go over is our sculpt here, our main sculpt. And I really, really do adore how this looks. We have our hint of white on the hair. We have our closed eye. We have our dead on look. This looks really good. It's a little light. I wish he was a little bit more brown skin, but I'm totally fine with the sculpt itself. But skin tone, I wish it was a little bit more brown and not pale. But if at this point, if you're not getting the sunlight, I guess that makes sense, right? You know? And then our articulation, and then this is what we're going to talk about, articulation, right? This is like one of my favorite parts. We can rotate our arms around in a crazy way. Like, I know this looks crazy on the outside with that opening there, but we do allow for a beautiful and smooth butterfly, which allows us to get our arm over. We have a bicep swivel, which clearances for the Berserker armor, as you can see right here. We are double jointed. We look utterly fantastic doing it. Those extra, my man got extra length, right? We can rotate our arm backwards, and we can actually clear it back in so that it sits. You can shift up and down to allow for clearances, and they're really tight, which allows you to shift the weight of your sword. Even over here, we have the same articulation, and we have a little bit of extra movement here because we have a ball joint a socket that rotates. On our ball joint here, we can actually rotate our wrists, right? This wrist actually does really well and doesn't have too many issues. Buttermilk. But right here, I have issues with my sword holding hand. The issue is that the tolerance is a little too tight, which he holds it well, but I do have to heat it up just to get it on. And it's caused me a bit of issue. So that's one of those things I was not really enjoying. As far as our waist area, we actually have a beautiful side to side. We have a little bit of backwards movement. Let me pop this back in. I'll get to that in a second. Going forward, we have a beautiful forward crunch. Now, here's the problem. With our forward crunch, if you place your last large knife there, that completes our outfit. Guess what? You can't clearance it because the large knife will be in the way. There we go. I don't know why it did that. If you place your large knife here, it'll be in the way. So it's one of those things where, because of that, you need to be careful about your tolerances. As you can see here, we can actually rotate over, get a very good look here. As far as looking up and down, I'm a little disappointed because maybe it's my stiff, oh no, it was my stiff neck. So he can look up and can look down, just that my neck was very stiff in the joint. As you can see there, it's actually giving me some trouble. And then here with our legs, we can lift up and do past 90 degrees. We have a thigh swivel, right? But the tolerance here, sometimes if you have it on a straight leg, you can only get about those 90 degrees. That's all you'll be getting. If you leave your leg straight, you'll only get the 90 degrees. Beautiful double leg joint. Generous, beyond generous ankle pivot. But the problem is, it is tough to hold up the weight on these little legs. So I'm going to hit it with some kikis, so that way it can hold that extra weight, because that may be a little bit of an issue going forward, especially once you have the sword in hand. Also, there is a shifter here that allows for extra movement. you can see that clearly, right? But yeah, these the bags can actually rotate on the joints. You can clear out a little bit of space for that by shifting in and backwards. So that means you will be able to have tons of space. Now, I was actually hearing from my friends that they are having some issues with theirs falling apart. I don't have the issues with mine falling apart, and I hope I don't ever have issues with mine falling apart. But as you can see, I still also have tolerance issues. But when I tell you this man can pose, look at that. Arms can get up and easy. Head can be in sight. He's literally giving sight beyond sight. Look how he can hold the sword up. This is utterly beautiful, in my opinion. I'm glad we're here. Even with your bag, you can actually shift the weight on that. So, basically, you have to. It's weird because you almost got to treat this like a Revolve Tech, but this is engineered beautifully. I just really wish that the tolerances were right. But otherwise, I'm really, really so very happy to finally get another version of Guts. I'm really, really happy with it. Now, with that being said, though, let's get to the accessories, pop them on him, and show you that, because we're also going to talk about this piece here. So yeah, see you guys in a sec. As you can see, I left Guts just like that. So let's talk about his big old sword. I'm going to do a comparison for the size comparisons, but we have his big old Buster sword, his Zweihander style. This is also proof that everyone should be doing Soul Calibur figures. I'm 100% here for this. I love this goddamn sword. And when you want to attach the hands, you just wiggle at the bottom. There you have it, right? But yeah, I can't tell you how many times I love this goddamn sword. I have fond memories of two people with this type of sword. One of them is Siegfried from Soul Calibur, and the other is my main man Guts. So think about that, right? That tells my type of personality. Next up, we have some nice parts. So let's go with our face part. Let's talk about that. One of our sculpts is going to be the grit teeth face sculpt. As you can see here, it looks utterly fantastic. And they fill out like face plates on the face, which is why the hair looks a little seamless. You have to really look for that plate offering. Next up, we're going to have our screaming face, because Guts is not a normal person, and he's not doing normal things. There we go. I really, really like these sculpts. Trying to film him in dark backgrounds is going to be tough, and maybe that's why the skin is lighter. But I want to shoot him with darker colors and reds and oranges, because I really want this guy to look fantastic in photos, right? Next up, we're going to have our cannon arm. This, as you saw earlier, just plugs right in. Take that apart. The wrist can actually fold in and fold out. So how you want to do that is completely up to you. It's actually pretty cool that they did it this way. Next up, you will also get the bow arm. I really do like the bow arm. This is really nice. And this will be compatible with the open hand joint for the sword. Oops, sorry. See, this is what happens when I'm looking ahead and not into camera. Because we actually get the opening here, compatible with the sword holding hand. We actually have the crank here for it. Stop focusing on Guts in the background, guy. And then this does not fold in, just to be aware, just to show you. So yeah. Now, with that being said, for our backhand side, let's back this up. You will have your opening here to stash the look for it for the catapult. See right here? So you can stash it back here. Let's say you want to turn it around that way, you can. You can rotate here. Depending on how you want to release yours, it's going to be completely and utterly up to you. Oh, one more cool thing. Because it was shown in the solicits, he does have the branding on Q, branding on neck. I love that. I love everything about that. Right? So that was a cool thing that is definitely included to its accuracy of the figure. I really like that. Let's put that away. And you will also get a tiny behelit, which I remember this being red, but I could be wrong and it could be green. But then again, it all depends on who's coloring your manga, right? And the romanization is called Beherit, but it's the Behelit, obviously. Next up, we will have our other sets of hands. So, you saw one of the sword-holding hands, obviously. That's going to be on our human hand, but on our prosthetic hand, I have the other sword-holding hand. Here's the one for the catapult and the sword holding hand here. You'll also get a closed fist for punching your opponents. Next up, you will get 2 relaxed hands as well, when you want to be a calm Guts, looking cool for story mode. And then, like we stated before, we have our last placement knife, which personally I don't mind it. I don't care that it would have been molded on, but I guess they want you to be able to remove it for cool posing, right? But as you can see here, depending on how you pose or what you do, it will indeed get in the way, which will make things a little bit frustrating. So you got to be careful of how you're going to place this one, because you don't want that popping out or being like a crazy mess, right? Last but not least, we're going to talk about our cape. Now, am I happy with the cape? No. Maybe because I get a bunch of custom capes, so I may be biased in this. Like, I think custom capes are a lot better. But I feel like with big company, they should be able to manufacture good capes. I know Mafex does a really good job at actual capes, and I think that Bandai is just not there yet with cloth capes. They are not. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this front piece, which I'm glad it does come off easily, but sometimes it does get annoying with how it comes off. There's going to be this latch here, right? And with this latch, we will have our... Don't get it twisted. This cape is beautiful looking, and it does process really well. It's wired inside. I don't know if you guys can see the wiring latched inside. It's wired inside. We have our opening here for it. I feel like they made this part a little too tough, because when I place it on, it sits a little funny, and I don't like the way that sits. So I feel like a softer back piece would have probably made that a ton better. I probably should have took the head off first. I played myself here. And I'm going to pop that off. I probably should have just waited. But yeah. Here we go. We're going to try to pop this in. We're going to fit in our latch, which honestly, I need to take off camera so I can actually get a decent view and see what I'm doing, because I'd be crazy to do it otherwise. There we go. Right. And as you can see, it sits here with this little opening here, but it sits really rough in the background on the neck, so it doesn't lay like really flat. It does give a nice cover though for the front piece that comes back on, and it covers Guts' face really, really well. So again, you have this accurate look, but in the back it looks a little stuffy. That's one thing I'm just like not looking forward to. But if we talking about flow, the flow level on this cape is serious. Like, I like it a lot, but it just does not sit flush enough for me, I guess. Like, it doesn't droop well, doesn't sit well, just kind of just sits there looking kind of crazy. But then if we're following Muria style, I guess so. Or you can do what I'm doing now and kind of fold it. See, no, I guess I played myself, because this actually looks really good folded. I played myself. That's on me, y'all. I didn't think of this when I first played with this damn toy, and now it actually looks really okay folded. I played myself. That's on me, y'all. I hope y'all forgive me. But folded, this actually looks really solid. I didn't think about this until I sat here and got it on video. So my gripe with the cape is kind of over now. Like, it looks terrible back there like this, but from a front view, this looks stupendous. Right? As y'all saw, the knife fell out because I was trying to play. So maybe getting a third party or a smaller knife will work a little better, but it does complete his look. So yeah, I hope you guys forgive me for my cape incident. But yeah, this is pretty solid now. So now you learned something new together. That's one of those things I'm really gonna enjoy. But now what we are gonna do is I'm gonna break out my Figmas and my other stuff and monsters and mythic legions. We're gonna jump into that size comparison. So I will see you guys in a sec. Alright, now we're gonna get into the size comparison, but beforehand, let's talk about swords. I know Isaac Wong covered this. If you aren't following Isaac Wong, make sure you are on Facebook and on Instagram. He posts really cool full galleries. He's out there in Hong Kong doing the Lord's work. Here we are with our big SHF Berserk sword. Here we are with the Figma sword. Show you where these guys kind of lay out. On the left we have Figma, on the right we have SHF. Like I said, I'm here for big sword supremacy, so I'm happy with both, but I really like the SHF version being bigger and basically an upgrade, because as you can see, you can almost fit the entire Figma inside of the SHF, right? Then there's also our bloody version that we got with the redux of our Berserker armor. So I just want to make sure I showed that. Now we're going to jump in. Let us do the old Black Swordsman Figma, right? Which I still think they're both at really good heights, so I'm not against that part. I do wish this guy was a little bit bigger. And then we have my custom Figma Berserker armor. Now this one had a repaint done to its armor, given a cloth cape that works. So please, and I also gave him the extra arm. So please be aware that this is a custom. It is based off the Figma Berserker armor. There's no height modifications, only a cloth cape and the new arm from the Black Swordsman, right? So I really like the functionality of this one, whereas this one still really does look good, but I had to do a lot of work to it. So I can't really compare that one. I don't think that's fair, but yeah. Then we have the Figma Femto, aka Griffbro, or Grifto, depending on how, like who you're talking to. So as you can see, he does fit in really well with the Femto as well. So if you want to mix and match your lines, if you haven't sold your Figma ones, just know that you still have options of mixing and matching, finding what works perfectly for you. Next up, we have a Mezco Solomon Kane, showing your boy Solomon Kane off, right? As you can see, Mezco is way bigger. Then we have Noda Collections Rurouni Kenshin. Let's remove these two. We have a Hasbro Lightning Collection Omega Black Ranger. We're going to toss in some domestic figures. Here we are with a Foosh Toys Sakit, in case you wanted evil ninjas in there, so you know how they size out. So I think Guts is actually a little bit bigger than a normal SHF. Here we are with a Valorverse rollout. As you can see, he's actually not on a bad height with this guy. He's bigger, but he's still not bad for an SHF. Normally, SHF is completely tiny compared to these guys. Then we're going to do a... Oh, you know what? Forgot all about this guy right here. I really wanted to throw him in there. Here is a Figma Devilman. I feel like these two would look really cool either teaming up or battling each other. So here's Figma Devilman. Figma Devilman is huge. Here is a Kulu World Meatless Man. All right. Shout out to Kai, showing me the ways of the Meatless Man. Oh, that's so funny. Then we have a Mythic Legions Meatless Man and an Awok Blight. Let's show those guys off. Right? I feel like these kind of fit the scenario of Guts. This guy is your demon, obviously. He can be your reformed demon or your demon man. I feel like he would fit that narrative really well. Oh, one more thing I want to add. If you have blood effects from either Pyramid Head or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what's really cool is these blood effects actually work really well. So I want to show that off. I'm trying to show you guys, give you guys as much information as possible. And if you wanted those really big guys, some really big demons or ogres, if you have Mythic Legions ogres, here we are with Scourge, which I've kit bashed some other parts by popping and swapping. And then we have Guts here. So look how much bigger these are. So if you want to make a custom like Zod out of this guy, like I'd highly recommend using the Scourge or the Kragnar type body, because they have that ab crunch that looks really well for Zod. So yeah, there you have it. Those are the size comparisons I have for you. I can't think of anything else right now because I got to do some digging for all my demons and stuff like that. But yeah, I do want to thank you guys. I learned something new about the cape while on camera, and it changed my mind. So, you know, new information opened me up to new things. I didn't know I could fold it and make it look cool. So that actually works a little bit better for me. I'm actually going to mess around with that some more because it makes me look like I can do... See? Yeah. I was so worried about what I couldn't do. Look at it now. This is not even an issue. So I can't even say the cape is bad now. That was really bad first impression. So I should have played with it some more. But I'm actually really excited to talk about this. So I'm glad I learned something new. But this is still an issue, and we got to work on our tolerances up here to make sure stuff can hold. Like I said, he can hold his weight in the sword, which is not one of my issues, but I'm really glad mine's wasn't falling apart. So, while there seems to be a QC issue, overall design-wise and how I played with the figure, very happy. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the photos at the end. And as always, please, be good, do good, drink your water, guys. Later.